Hey everybody, today I'm going to talk to you about a new makeup palette that I think is really going to appeal to your sense of humor, at least. It is the Meet Matte Nude palette. So it's from the Balm, and they already have out a palette called Meet Matte. So there you see Matte dressed, and here he is, we would assume nude, and it is a nude eyeshadow collection that is all matte. So I'm gonna get into explaining this, show you some swatches, compare it a little bit to another recent matte palette launch. First off, just to give you a little comparison here with the original Meet Matte palette, you can see it's got the same amount of shades, it's got 9 colors, but in this new palette, I would say they are more than double the size of the shadows in here. And the original Meet Matte, in case you're not familiar with that, you've got some neutrals or nude shades as they're being dubbed, it seems like these days, but you've also got a few colors in there, like really deep plums, dark bluish greens and blues, and more like lighter green, light pink. With this one, it is more neutral, but what I do like about it is that it's all sides of neutral eyeshadows. Instead of just giving you the warm neutrals or the cool neutrals, it does give you everything. There's a big mirror on here as well. The texture of the Balm shadows, I was comparing it directly to like my Naked Basics, because these are a lot of matte shadows and these are matte as well. And so as I swatched, the thing I noticed, and I love Urban Decay shadows, but what I noticed was that these even have a more creamy texture to them. Like when you put your finger on them, it like the product almost, instead of like flaking off or dusting away, it's like it almost hangs together on your fingertip. And whereas sometimes you could put a Urban Decay shadow between your fingers and go like this, and you see powder kind of runs away. It's still a good texture, and it still works fine, and I feel like it comes off pigmented and is pretty, but these are really, really good for not having any fallout. When this comes in contact with the skin, it really has a way of almost attaching to it instead of powdering and flaking off. So I love that about the Balm shadows. So texture, I mean, I give it 2 thumbs way up for the Balm for sure. In terms of the shades, let's just go through and look at them here. We've got Matte Johnson, which is like a really, really deep charcoal shade, kind of a dark, dark gray. Matte Garcia is a deep warm brown. Matte Malloy is going to be your creamy white shade. Matte Rosen, kind of a warm medium brown. Matte Wood, your classic dark, dark brown. Like seriously, this comes off with the intensity almost of a black. If you apply it concentrated like a liner or something like that, that's the way it looks. Matte Sing is a peach shade. Matte Abdul is sort of a classic gray. Matte Lombardi, kind of a buttery golden yellow color. And Matte Hung is like a medium gray with a little bit of a plum influence thrown in there. I've kind of gotten into using matte shadows a little bit more as more matte shadows have become available. I mean, I feel like more brands are putting them out, and they can be fun to work with, because with shimmer, while you do get sparkle and you do get some luminosity and it looks pretty and shiny and stuff, it can look a little bit muddy sometimes, or it doesn't have quite the contrast that matte shadows can have, where you can really get like perfect lines, perfect, you know, here's where your lid is, here's where your crease is. You can get a nice separation of color. You can see the contrast more. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're interested in a tutorial, I actually did use this in my Get Ready With Me video. I think I called it Get Ready With Me Average Day or something like that. You can actually see this palette in action. I did a look kind of similar to what I did today with the cooler shades, and that's what I'm loving the most about this palette. I love using, like today I used a little bit of the white on the lid, actually mixed it some with this Matte Abdul for a light gray, used some of the Matte Johnson shade on the outside and in the crease, blended that out a little bit with Matte Hung, and just did a little bit like buffing out the darkest shade. Used some of the peach shade right before I got to my brow, and then went in with just a little more of the white right under the brow. So I mean, great like kind of gradient effects that you can do when you've got multiple shades of brown, multiple shades of gray. So you may be watching this thinking, okay Emily, that's great that you like this, but do I need this if I already have the Meet Matte palette? I think that really depends on how much you like matte eyeshadows and how much you'll use matte eyeshadows, you know? If you really only kind of like matte eyeshadows, then maybe you're not interested in any of this. Here you've got a few more colors, and if you're satisfied with that and you don't feel like you need any more neutrals, then just stay with that. You may not want to, you know, mess with anything else, but this is just more of a range of both warm and cool neutral shades. I definitely like it better than the Naked Basics, because I feel like Naked Basics, I mean, I've already done a video duping the entire Naked Basics, but as I look at it, you've got 3 shades that are real close together there. And here, each shade kind of has its own identity. Each swatch is, you know, very true to color. I'm trying to read minds here, but if you're also thinking, well, I want to try these wonderful shadows from the Balm, but I'm not that cracked up about having all matte shades, something you might really like, which I talked about this in my holiday palettes video, and so many people have said that they got this for Christmas based on that video, so that's exciting. But this has 4 matte shades in it, and then some shimmery ones in different colors, and this is just a super fun palette. Blush, highlight, and a couple of lip things there, but I've talked about this more in that video, but this is kind of like a mix of everything the Balm has to offer. Matte, shimmer, color, neutral. If you just want a little matte in your life, you can get it there, but if you want to meet matte nude, then this would be the palette to go for. If you want more or different tutorials beyond what I did in the Get Ready With Me video with this palette, just let me know and I would be happy to do some of those. It's fun to use, fun to work into other palettes you currently own. So thanks again, guys. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye.